Hello and welcome to Vegas Aces. My name is Heather Ferris, and today we are joined with
Kris.
awesome. Now, Kris, you are now again, everything's anonymous here. You are a floor supervisor on the Las Vegas Strip, and you've been doing that for a pretty good amount of time. Um, Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and thank you for basically helping people who are watching and who want to be floor supervisors and answering any questions that they typically ask. So, first of all, what is it like to be a floor supervisor in Las Vegas?
Well, yes, it's been many years, and I've dealt at a number of casinos, and I've been a floor supervisor at two over the years. There's a small difference based on the size of the casino, the dollar amount in play, and of course whether they're local players the majority of the time versus people that are there on holiday. Those several different aspects make a large change in maybe your customer service level. So, think for a moment, if you were to get into a new industry and you were to start in a small casino or a small plant or manufacturing, your skill set would be small. The broader you can get to your skill set might encourage you to move to a larger casino or a bigger or better job. Think of things like not having graduated college or a 2 year degree versus a four and then a master's degree. So the equivalent probably to where I am now in a very large casino, seeing very high dollar amounts, and the number of years in, probably closer to something like a master's degree.
Okay.
Because that availability means I could go to probably any other property on the strip or away from Las Vegas.
Yeah. So it really matters where you work. Like if you are in a certain casino that is very, I don't know, well known in Las Vegas or in America. If you're in something like, let's say, let's give an example, the Win, you know, then you could pretty much work anywhere in America or pretty much anywhere in Las Vegas, really.
Yeah, minimum requirements are established for whichever position, and with 8 to 10,000 employees in several of the big ones, um, top three, top five, whatever your personal perspective is, um, you get in a 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in, let's say, dealing position, or 5 years or 10 years in, and then you go get in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years into a floor position. Those attributes definitely stack up to the resume to wherever you might want to go. And I think a majority of jobs nowadays are, what is the business portfolio or plan for you? What shift will work best for you and your family or children, or your single life, or you want to work two part-time jobs because that benefits you better for 7 days a week as opposed to, well, I got to work morning this one and night this one, and it's like, well, I can always stay on the same hours, and then the vacation time accrues, and your financial goals, 401ks, those benefits are very useful. Tax benefits for, you know there's some solid pluses for working inside a major business, a top 500 S&P company, stocks, dividends, returns. I mean, sometimes you're like, well, maybe it's like a desk job, just because you got to clock in and clock out, but it's more of a customer service job. By all means, if you're lacking being an extrovert, keeping it simple might just be dealing. If you're going for a floor position or a senior management, assistant shift or shift manager to run the 40 to 400 employees during a swing shift on a busy casino night, you're going to need a serious skill set. And it's probably going to require a minimum 2 to 4 year college degree to get you there. Uh, but the people skills and being uh, able to adjust to circumstances that may be out of your control. Obviously, um, if you were in a bank and somebody hit the fire alarm, you might just lock your money drawer, and run out. Like safety first, right? But in the casino, when we've had emergencies and unfortunate circumstances, it is get the customer to a safe spot. We'll worry about them putting the lid on them, or locking money. Not even, just put the lid on and get everybody out safely. It's really, you're concerned more with people. You're concerned more with keeping a positive atmosphere and attitude towards everyone having a good time. Obviously, there's insurance for if the building was burned down, but you can't maybe get back, an employee that needs assistance out or things like that. There's a very conscious awareness of what's going on around you that is probably a high level requirement. They might just say, "Oh, pay attention," but it's a bit more than just paying attention.
And that's really difficult to do, especially nowadays. The floor supervisors are tasked with watching, and I swear I don't know how you guys do this. 6 games, 8 games, depending on the situation, 9 games. I mean, it's just incredible what you have to keep track of and what you have to pay attention to.
It does vary, yes, from dollar amount. The reference, a smaller casino, if the table minimum is $10 and the maximum is $500, there's a high likelihood that I've watched 8, 9, and 10 games or scheduled a 10 or 12-hour shift. For all those people partying for New Year's, thanks for coming. But by the way, we do like 10 or 12 hours, 3 days in a row. The 30th, 31st, 1st.
Which are blackout dates, by the way,
yes.
And you cannot call in sick.
If you do, yes, there's a significant ramification towards your 10, 12, 14 points to getting fired. But the strenuous level of activity at that point in time is really requesting you to be on your best for a extremely long amount of time. So the focused amount of time, you might be going is 2 to 3 hours and then getting maybe a 30-minute break. So by all means, when the dollar amounts are smaller, up to 500, it's probably much easier for me to attend to paying attention to the games. But as in, if I'm in a much higher dollar amount situation where we pay out over $100,000 in less than 60 seconds, whether it's in a salon room in the back somewhere, at 10, 20, 30, 50,000 a hand, or on a roulette game, single zero, maybe better than $100,000 on one spin. You're watching one game.
Yeah, in fact, not only that, if someone's on the high limit table and they're betting a lot, you have like 3 or 4 people watching that one game.
Yeah, on the floor for sure. Which is, there's a little something that the tidbit that's ironic or a good time, so to say. It wasn't my table, the section next to me and single zero section. There happened to be quite a large crowd, 20, 30, 50 people, something, and they just keep getting in closer and closer. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go around the table to help the other floorman who's watching the game. Just kind of adjust the chairs, scoot the people back just a little bit. I don't, by all means, the Nevada law says public open area. You can watch, you can, cheer, you can be encouraging. And so I went around the table, and the minute I got just by the wheelhead, hit 14. We paid him $129,000 on one spin. So, and I'm like, well, but we gave him a little room, and I could ID anyone that appeared to be under 21, and space like that. It was just a few minutes, 3, 5, 8 minutes, something like that. I'm like, God, these guys are crushing them. I'm like, I've got to go around the table again and give them some room. Went around the table, hit 14 again, paid him $144,000 on one spin, and the floorman's like, dude, you are the most unlucky person ever. Like, what is the deal? He's like, okay, I'm unlucky.
Like, okay, just stay on this side of the table.
Right.
Don't walk anywhere.
Right. So it was a little bit of an awkward situation. So, but when you start throwing $1,000 chips all over the place, yes, you're really gonna watch one game as a primary, and surveillance can be on any game on any casino floor at some point in time. But
they're always watching.
Well, or at least we'd like to tell you they are. I mean, there's 1,200 cameras, but they're not really watching. I'm like, you're betting $5 a hand. They're not. They're watching somebody bet a lot of money somewhere, or they're watching somebody that might be doing something dishonest, whether it's an employee or a guest. And yes, they're interested in protecting the best interest of the company and corporation. Oh, by all means, they don't want to rain down and ruin somebody's parade or somebody's fun. And that's what's the bonus part for a floor supervisor is there's a discretionary dollar amount. So if there was a intentional or unintentional move by a player, intentional or unintentional move by the dealer to take an extra card or not to, or the discretionary dollar amount is much higher in a better casino.
Okay.
So better meaning higher dollar amount and probably more luxurious. Okay. So that helps the floor person and is a vital tool. If you're on the floor, you're watching this, I would encourage you to know what that dollar amount is. If it's $50 in a small casino, $100 in just a little bit bigger one, look, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to try and interpret what the intention of the player was. Mm-hmm. So by all means, you want to come very cautious, very gentle to hear everyone out, because it's not always about what the result is. It's about how you made that person feel. So if the player is offended, regardless of whether you actually gave him his money back or called the hand dead, then there's a bitterness that's not sweet and they don't want to play there or don't want to be with that dealer or will be more than happy to play somewhere else. So you don't want to lose the business for what? An $80 or $280 payout? Look, it's not about the money. Right. It's about trying to resolve the issue with what the player would have naturally intended, how they've naturally tried to play. Whether they're, I wanted a card. Well, there's a good chance this person is drinking and or losing and or drinking. Vice versa. Like, well, they might be doing one more than the other, and it might affect their attitude. So that discretionary dollar amount helps solve issues. So if I can try to determine what your intent was, like a hand last night, happened to be watching Ultimate Hold'em table, and the player had Queen 8. And the player was not normally going to go following basic strategy on that hand of going 4 times. Mm-hmm. The basic strategy part is important for each and every game, by the way. If you're going to be good at being a floor supervisor, it does matter knowing how to give the player the correct play if they ask. You don't have to, but if they ask, it builds bond of encouragement. Bond of encouragement is, I'm going to encourage you to hit that or stand or double or split or go 4 times. So in this circumstance, it was going 4 times. Basic strategy is every ace or better, king 5 or better, queen 8 or better. But that player was like, no, I want to play differently. I want to play a little more conservative. They would not have. The answer is that we had exposed the entire hand. The player had thought that she gave the player's cards. The player didn't even have the 2 cards. And she flipped the flop, and they're like, and moved his hand like, I don't have my cards. And she flipped the turn of the river. The player doesn't even have his 2 cards. And I'm like, well, when he put his money down, he intended to play the hand. Mm-hmm. I'm going to therefore give him his 2 cards, and it's fully exposed. It's like a blackjack hand where the dealer gave the 2 cards and then just flipped their hand. Well, we have what we have, 17 or 20. You choose to do what you need to do to beat the hand or win. Mm-hmm. So he had Queen 8. And I said, do you want to go 4 times? And he's like, no. I said, well, my intent is, would you have gone 4 times from the beginning? If I was playing, I would have. Mm-hmm. Because basic strategy entails to do that. Go 4 times. So $15 bet, let's say $60 as an example. And the flop came a pair of 2s and a king. Mm-hmm. So that didn't add up to him wanting to go 2 times and make a bet. He hadn't made a pair or showed top card. So then the turn of river came and he hit a pair. So he's got 2 pairs. Like, well, we definitely bet at 1 time. I go, well, then I'll give you that action. Mm-hmm. So giving the player that action based on what their natural and normal intent would be is something very simple. Then, the hand plays out and, we pay or take appropriately, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. So having the years of experience in dealing and or a very strong encouragement for anyone getting into a floor position in a small casino or going to a big one, dual rate position, is knowing as many games as you can know. If you can know 8, 10, 12 games, everything from high out to single zero and everywhere in between,
Yeah.
those are strong encouragements. If you can further know what strategy should be used on those games, that's going to seriously help your skill set, but it's going to help the players have a good time. It's going to help them have a memorable experience and then want to come back and see you and do business with you and your property again.
So, what is the normal day in life of a floor supervisor? Just what's a typical day for you?
Well, you try to blow all your check daily, your tips daily. You try to get drunk as hell, just stumble back into work and drink a cup of coffee, rub the dirt out of your eyes, and be like, wow, I made it, not fired yet. Give me another 6 to 8 hours. Let's get out of here and start drinking again. Oh, wait, that's the good old days back like 30, 40 years ago.
Although some of them still do that.
Yeah, they're like, wait, it's my break time. You run out of or some other casino downtown as an example, not to say that casino was the case, but you would run out of one, run into the one next door, give me a shot and a beer and smoke 2 cigarettes on your 20-minute break, and then run back to the table to deal blackjack.
Yep.
So, the many years ago stories of, but yeah, you'll still see several floor people or dealers in the casino industry, still have a life. And they're like, oh, well, it's somebody's birthday or somebody's retirement party. As we watch the baby boomers continue to move on, and helps the younger folks like us, so maybe move up a little bit. There's good times to be had. And you don't want to show up to work hungover, because then your lack of attention or your lack of patience or focus can come back and bite you. Obviously, you can't be 100% every day, but there's a bonus. You have points, that 10, 12, 14 points, depending on which casino you're in, to use at your discretion. They don't ask you where you were or what you were doing. But side note, as we were chit-chatting before we got on camera, you don't have to post you're at a party on any social media website that helps encourage you get written up or fired.
Yeah, don't do that.
So yes, live your life for sure, but don't jeopardize your ability. So
especially if you're on Facebook and you're friends with your boss, you're friends with the assistant manager, the casino manager.
Yeah,
don't do that.
So I think as much as the locals been there a long time, as much as the locals like to enjoy a good meal, being on the strip or away from it, enjoy a beverage or two or something and have some good time. Now that marijuana is legal, obviously that's a discretion for yourself as well.
Real quick, now that you brought that up, have you ever had someone on your table just light up? I have, and it was about 15 years ago, and I can't say the name of the casino, but I was at a casino working as a dealer, and they just lit up at my table, and I'm like, dude, it's illegal, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, even now, so it's illegal to light up on the table in the casino area, because it definitely still affects other people. There are people that have allergic reactions or start coughing severely. I don't do well with smelling marijuana around the tables, and there's people walking through on a regular basis or in front of the tables. There's a very strong aroma, and I've seen dealers start coughing and not handling the situation well. There are laws to follow in Nevada, and those are in the privacy of your own home partaking in those things. Feel free to Google it. Don't exactly use my reference, but it's more of a courtesy that I'm saying, please consider other people around you.
Plus the gaming control board, the casinos will lose their license if they allow any kind of marijuana use anywhere near the tables. The Nevada Gaming Control Board just completely forbids it.
So, it's a strong encouragement to help people have a good time, and even the locals. It's encouraged. Use your vacation time. Schedule some getaways, some priorities for your family and your friends, because it's scientifically proven. Therapists will say, look, if you want to be more successful in your time working, be more successful scheduling your time away from work. So you're getting your rest, you're getting your family time, you're getting your vacation time. Oh, I want to be in the Bahamas and the, white sand and blue water in the oceans. Those things are very encouraged to helping your success level at whatever casino level you're at. And I've gone back and seen people I worked with 12, 15 years ago, whatever, that are still in the same casino and still in the same dealing position. And they're satisfied with their days on, their days off, with their medical, dental, vision, 401k program, with being the breadwinner or husband or the wife, and she makes more than he does, or vice versa, and they're satisfied. There's nothing wrong with having some contentment and some joy in life. And whatever really helps you not be at that higher stress level or experiencing new things that disrupt your right brain, which is awkward situations. So how your brain functionally works is, you know what, it's going to be different to try to deal with somebody going, give me a $19,000 nine, when you're like, oh, I've seen maybe $40 on the nine and I know what it pays. Well, hello, you're going to get just chewed up and spit out in a quick manner that other peers, that dealers or floor person could be more encouraging than another dealer who might come down on you rather hard, rather quickly. Because there is a skill set that I have seen over the years that determines what players want to play with what staff, what dealer. So if I'm very familiar with what every single payout is for $1 to $100 on the roulette table, and I happen to throw up $57 on a number, and it takes the dealer 20 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes to come up with what that payout is, it's going to either be comforting or it's going to be annoying. So the newer player is going to go, you know what, I'm comforted by their chit-chat and make conversation. They're explaining to me why they're paying me the $25 pays this, the $50 total pays this, the extra $7 pays this, and then the breakdown on how and why. And they're like, oh, well, this is encouraging, and they have a good attitude. And the experienced player that came up with what the payout is before the dealer came up with what the payout is either going to look around and go, what other tables are available? Where can I go where there might be a better, higher quality, more experienced for suiting me, so my hands per hour can be fulfilled for my level of a good time. I don't know if you've seen that very often, but that also was what helps determine whether someone will play at a table that has a $25 maximum straight up, where 500 maximum straight up, 1,000 maximum straight up. And if you got $1 million, 2, 5, 50 million available line of credit, $2,000 straight up in every way to the number, you're going to start figuring out, once you get into serious high limits, oh, well, the payout on this table was 1.1 million on the last spin. There's very few. Yeah. I mean, they've been 10, 20, 30, 40 years on the same table in the same casino, as long as, or they've moved only to a new one when it opened. Very, very high end.
That's a very, very good point. And also, too, if the dealers are burnt out, if they lack sleep, again, what you were saying before, it's really important for self-care. If you don't do that, if you don't take care of yourself, that's going to cause mistakes. I mean, stupid mistakes, like the information, but still because of the lack of sleep, because you're burnt out, because you're not taking care of yourself. So I completely agree with that. What other tips and tricks do you have for floor supervisors or wannabe floor supervisors out there, or dual rates?
Yeah, the dual rates are a good way to go for sure. So depending on the size of the casino, they might give you 1 or 2 days to start putting the jacket on. That's probably one of my strongest encouragements is, one, know and or learn as many games as you can, and then get a qualified skill set for each of those games. Depending on which casino you're in, they might give you a 1 or 2 page test or exam, so to say, and proficiency if you can pass that in a certain time frame, 60 seconds or 5 minutes, depending on how difficult it is, those proficiency skill sets let your immediate shift manager, casino manager, know that you still need work or you're good to go to get more experience on that next level, the next game. Those are strong encouragements. And then 1, 2, 3 years in at each game, seeing high dollar amounts day in and day out, and being prepared mentally, emotionally to deal with an irate loss or an irate mistake, and how you handle those is going to come through as a representative of your personality, because it's really like represents the casino. Like they take it as this is the casino's point of view. They say, well, we're gonna look at the camera on that. I want to see the I don't know how many times his heads up. I don't know how many times. Well, go to the camera, sir, ma'am. I'm not going to the camera. What? No. But I am going to hear your perspective, and I'm going to say it gently. I'd love to hear what you thought you saw or thought you heard, or what your dollar amount was, or what the hand was. Okay, more than happy to hear you. Just give me a moment. Okay? And then I'm more than happy to hear what the dealer might have said, and or if there's 3 or 4 other people at the table. Hey, what do you think occurred? Okay, great. Well, you know what? I'm going to solve this right now because it's under my discretionary dollar amount. And I don't believe that there was an infraction that was an intentional cheating. And I really have to be able to read people and go with intent. So the key point there is a skill set. The next is patience. If you can gain patience, whether you've raised 4 children for the last how many years and or none, and your patience is very high, and or you can gain patience in a very short amount of time to help slow the situation down. Characteristic that is more common than not, a psychological evaluation of how people are interpreted, is you'll often find players that are gravitated to a very attractive woman or very attractive man. They want to do business or sit and spend money with somebody that they find desirable to look at or desirable to have conversation with. Something soothing or comforting. Maybe someone within 5 or 10 years of their age bracket. So when those things occur, and I step in as a floor person in my 20s, 30s, and I happen to have a table full of everyone around 60, they're like, I don't want to hear anything. Whatever you have to say is like my kid telling me what to do. And grandpa and grandma or mom and dad, they don't want to hear anything that, like, you're the same age as my kid. My kid would look, I apologize, but this is the casino's point of view, whether you like to accept it or not. These are the rules, and we are going to play by them. And those are not offending other people with foul language or, spitting tobacco on the table, smoking weed. Like, there are certain aspects that I have to step in and make judgments, but the skill set's very important.
Was grandma calling names again? Was grandma like calling people names again?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. She had too much of the fucking eggnog.
Yes.
So, the answer, of course, is patience, skill set, and people really just want to be heard. Okay, and then I've got to recall a number of occasions where I didn't want to offend the dealer, and the dealer's like, well, they totally took a shot. They asked for a card, and then I gave it to them, then they bust, and they go, no, I didn't want it. And they've always been in 16, and vice versa. Look, I'm certain that if I have the computer systems up and running, whichever great one you happen to use at several of the bigger casinos, there could be a player tracker. And it could be that this person is notorious for often making plays that would be less than desirable, fine, and or intentional cheating. They're like, I'm going to take a shot to try to win a payoff that maybe I didn't deserve, and this is my way to do it. And you, as a floor person, please learn those tricks and traits and how and why. I saw a person pull a $500 losing bet off of the roulette table on the bottom center column.
Not good.
When the floor person and the dealer and the mucker missed it.
Oh, gee.
I happened to be on that game behind, and I'm like, you're kidding me right now. It's a $500 pulled the bet off the layout. It was a losing bet.
Was it the Savannah?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
right? And very few people know that move.
Yeah.
But that was yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Unbelievable. But so the player tracker point was attached to the name and the player and the rating. So you have a ability to say, was this questionable, or how often you type in some notes, or ask your superior to watch the tape and or consider those things. But really, just the positive resolution and dealing with people, they're not going to remember what you said. They're going to remember how they felt about how you handled the situation. And more often than not, like, what's it going to cost me? You know what? I'll let you out of the hand. By the way, a circumstance occurred recently, last night, night before. Some just like that. I asked for a card. No, I didn't. The dealer was like, he asked for the card. I understand. Maybe it was a physical reaction that was unintended. He made an intentional or unintentional mistake. Fine. I wanted to surrender. Okay, surrender. I'll give you half your bet back. No problem. I'll throw it. Well, this is the next card out. And the person goes, well, I don't want that card. And I go, well, it's clearly not a misdeal. And I don't feel like burning the card. So the answer is, if you want out of the hand or you want to surrender, I'll let you surrender. And the last guy make a decision. Well, I'm going to take it, not take it. No, it's a big card. I'm going to stick, and I want the dealer to flip and probably break. So, it wasn't the most positive resolution. Like, I just paid everybody. Ooh, everybody loves you. It's amazing how people love you when you're giving them money. But I'm not always at liberty to give away the house's money. Yeah. Disappointing fact. But yes, I want to keep people having a good time, and it's valuable to see when the hand is said and done, and we throw all the rest of the cards in, give it a reshuffle and like a fresh start. Everybody's fresh starting. Okay, good. Well, I give you the option out of the hand. If you play on, it's a win or lose, however you so choose. And I gave you the option to get out. You lost the hand. Once in a while, I'll just go, you know what? Just give them a push. Which means I gave them a opportunity to win without losing. And you just can't go about that all the time. It's very limited circumstances would I be able to express to my boss, hey, how or why did this person get this option? And it wasn't always our running theme. Well, our recovery program, or several different casinos recovery program, might be that you would give them an extra comp for a drink or a buffet or something if the situation was out of hand. So how I might have to handle this player might not necessarily be the same way I would handle another player, although the situations seem very similar. How much play a person has, so what their ratings are, what tier a valued customer they might be, how long they've been playing, how many years I may have seen them year after year, knowing them, and how they normally play, or this is something that they do often. There's a lot of discretionary decisions that go into your skill set for helping people play. I mean, if you consider this person might be gambling away more than what is comfortable for them that particular evening, and you might need to determine, hey, maybe there's an alcohol awareness program that you have to have a TAM card, and you have to help determine when somebody is getting to the point of having too much to drink and making difficult decisions. That's either some skill set that you have to entertain yourself and make those decisions. And in other casinos, they don't want you to make that decision as a floor person. They want your boss to make that decision. You just inform them, hey, you know what? I want you to come and see this person, take an eye and look at them, a pit manager, an assistant casino manager, a shift manager, to make those determinations so you can remove yourself from that. So knowing your role and what's acceptable in your casino and is encouraged is valuable, and knowing not to step on someone else's toes to do that.
So basically the tips and tricks, and just to rephrase what you were saying for people out there, people who are interested and want to go into floor supervising, they need to learn as many games as possible, preferably dealing. Don't be a floor supervisor if you only know blackjack. 2, they need patience, because you don't want to punch the players. Not good. I've seen it. Don't do it. 3, you want to inform yourself or teach yourself about cheating, which we will have more on Vegas Aces, so stay tuned for that. And 4 would be good customer service, because we are a customer service based industry. We are the entertainment industry. We are here to make sure you have a good time. Did I miss anything?
Those are valuable points. They just really are. And there's only so much you can, bring from another level or another field. And it's encouraged to, have other work experience somewhere along the way. You don't get into casinos and really on the floor until you're over 21. So if those first few years you did pruning trees, since we're in a beautiful environment, then that's really quite different than I made all of my money in sales, as an example. Then, I have to be able to read people and determine what it is they want and what it is that I can give them. Different extrovert things are very valuable to helping you be more successful.
Okay. And on that note, what else makes a good floor supervisor? So we have people out there who are just starting or they're dual rates, but what really makes them good?
I think just effort. I think effort to me is one of the most desirable things, whether it's from a coworker or a partner in life. Effort means quite a bit. So being there day in, day out, and that effort could be shining your shoes and then being well dressed. There's a crease in your suit pants and jacket, and you're really putting in that extra time, to have the proper attitude on top of the outward look. Look, I'm going to wear a smile a majority of the time. I'm going to, help other people I work with have a good time and be understanding of what the situation may be. Someone's getting a divorce and they're not the cheeriest of people, but they're at work and you've been working with them for some time. You're like, look, I might need to, nudge them along and encourage them a little bit and be helpful to resolving different situations a little bit at what table for what personalities are matching well and or maybe not, or I might move a table minimum lower or higher based on who is on the game, which is a skill set that you'll work towards. But it's really about the people, dealing with people and having the attitude and that effort. It goes a long way. Your boss is going to see it. Are you there all the time? Are you the one calling out? Are you missing those peak days of New Year's and other times that they really want to count on you? Are you available, and are you bringing your best you?
Also, too, I want to bring up as an example, I used to work with this floor supervisor who was around during the Mafia days, and he knew how to do it. He had a black book with every single player's name, their player's number, like what they like, what they don't like, what he normally comped them. Oh, Mr. So-and-so, I know you like Sheer. Let me get you, Share tickets or whatever. Like, he was just freaking on top of it. Certain players who he knew were big spenders who would come in often, as soon as they came up to the table, he would have a free pack of cigarettes ready for them. But this was back in the days where comps were a lot easier to give out. But that would be another example of what you were saying.
Yeah, that's very important. We have a number of casino hosts nowadays that handle different aspects rather than the floor person handling those. And someone goes, oh, well, how many points do I have on my card? Well, I'm not at liberty to look that up, even though I can look up your account and help track your rating for the length of time that you play and what your average bet is. And I'll be more than happy to try to assist you with those things. But, you go to the casino host for those things. But I really respect the effort that person would put in. They were like the knight in shining armor, like to the rest of the crew. And that lead by example is very important. And showing that effort, your boss will want you to learn another game. Your boss will want you to move to a floor supervisor position. Your boss will want you on that shift. They'll want you getting your vacation time approved, maybe more so than someone else's, because they have more respect for you. They appreciate you more. Someone will somewhere along the way, and believe me, if they don't, you'll be more than happy to go somewhere else and maybe make an extra 10 grand a year, and maybe make an extra 10 grand a year above that, and then another 10 above that, because you know it. And if you don't, you get on the aces and check, because I've done it. I've gone from making 10,000 more in this spot, 10,000 more in this spot, now 10,000 more in another spot. Those windows will open, those opportunities will come, and you just can't step through those until you possibly get that floor position. So if you are encouraged to do, say, 1, 2, 3 years in the floor position in the casino where you are, you might move back down to dealing, but up to a larger casino, which is very common.
Isn't it hard, like once you're a dealer and then you move to a floor supervisor, isn't it hard to go back to dealing again?
Right, but you might move to a larger casino. So let's say you're making 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year, somewhere in the small to medium range of a majority of the small to medium casinos on the strip or off the strip. But you go to a floor position and now you've got 1 year, 2 years, which is a now minimum requirement for you to obtain a floor position in the next casino, which is a bigger one. And that pay increase could be 10,000 a year to 10,000 a year over that. Once you get in the top 3, top 5, they're pretty close in floor pay. But you might go, I'm going to step back down to a dealer for 1, 2, 3, 5 years to reacquaint yourself with the skill set needed to deal to the higher dollar amount. So in dealing to the higher dollar amount, you're going to be, how fast can I come up with that? What's a $57 payout on, on this game, roulette to baccarat to, etc. dice? You're like, oh, well, it's an odd dollar amount. Well, you're going to get odd dollar amounts. I hate to tell you this. You're going to have to work your brain, and some math is part of it.
One time I was on roulette and I was dealing roulette, and my floor supervisor, he couldn't come up with the number, and he sat there with the calculator trying to figure out the final number as I sat there and waited. It was so funny.
And sometimes you get stuck.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. It's not one of your proudest moments, by the way. You're gonna get stuck, or you do it when you're getting. I got an interview. One of the jobs that I did land, I got an interview, and it was I dealt on the left-handed roulette table, which isn't that common on several places, but I had some experience, left-hand, right. Popped the ball off, and I'm like, oh, watch this, I'm gonna hit the 0. Guess what? I hit the 0, and then like last second before the ball drops, like 3 people threw an extra chunk on there. I go, damn, I don't know what that shit pays. Wow. So, I mean, you're talking better than 10 years ago or something, but yeah, you're going to get crushed somewhere along the way, but that's what's going to help build you up and make you better, is learning those dollar amounts. So if you're like, well, $25 max on the number, so you might know $1 to $25 on what the payout is on a roulette game. But then when that next job comes, in order for you to make that extra 10 grand a year, they're encouraging you to encourage your skill set. And before they determine, after 1, 2, 3, took me 3.5 years or something before I went to taking a management position, a floor position in that casino. And then I left that casino. I went to a larger casino to make an additional 10, 20,000 a year. And I went back to dealing for several years, 3, 4, 5 years, and then back up to a floor position again, because it's really important to have a higher skill set for the higher dollar amount. And that comment earlier was like, that player or several players are expecting another level of customer service, another level of wearing the white gloves and treating them properly is encouraged for that person that buys the highest end car versus someone that's buying, a $5,000 car off of a used lot.
One of my friends says, in this business, we don't discriminate by race, we discriminate by monetary amount. So the players, the $5 players, they're the lowest, and then anyone who's higher, they get their own privileges and special, people treat them all nice and everything. It just depends on how much you bet. So
by all means, a respect, a common courtesy respect is very important, very important. And the dollar amount, yes, you give extra treatment. You do things for the higher end player that you wouldn't necessarily treat the lower end player. But person to person, it's very valuable to see somebody a homeless person in front of the casino, and your casino's right on Las Vegas Boulevard, and the door's open, and going, hey, you know what, can we get that guy some water, or can we help someone, pick up chips that they dropped, or just common courtesy things go a long way, whether they're a small player or high end player. Yes, I'm probably more likely to comp a cigar, a fine glass of wine, or a Louis the 13th. As an example, this is a high end beverage. Because it's justifiable for what your dollar amount is that you're betting. I get somebody going, well, I'm betting 50 a hand. Well, back in the day, we'd give you cigarettes, and now you're like, well, it's got to be 50 a hand or 100 a hand or whatever the higher end casino might determine. There is definitely less comps given out now than there ever was before that I can think of. Or our premium alcohol, I want the highest brand, or things like that. But that white glove treatment, it comes down from the bean counters or analysis as well, from the bosses down, going, hey, look, this person that has our highest tier level, whether it's any one of the major casinos, they're going to say that person's worth 792 of the $5 to $10 players. Our revenue generated from this particular dollar amount spender is the same revenue that it takes nearly 800 regular Joes, Janes to make. So how much more do we want to give the white glove service to them? Get them, the limousines, or get them the rooms comped or the suites. But that skill set, that skill level, that encouragement, it's reiterated back. There is some joy in the business too, saying, you know what, they came back in town, they remembered my name, they remembered my face, what shift I was on, they remembered this deal or that deal, and they go, you know what, this is where we want to be, this is who we want to be doing business with, and we're there to encourage them to have a good time. Those are valuable aspects. You're making your casino the highest and best opportunity to make money. Sometimes they're going to win, sometimes the casino's going to lose. In the long run, the casino is going to win a majority of the time. There's a few really high skill set players that might overall win.
But that's every here and there, So last question, and then we'll end this live stream. So normally for dealers on the Las Vegas Strip, and no names of no casinos, the low end that they can make is about 40,000, and then the high end they can make is about 100,000. What's the low end and the high end that Floor Supervisors can make on the Las Vegas Strip?
I think I recall long time ago, 10 years ago or something, it was like $13 an hour at a very small casino to obtain a floor position, or like even above that, $140 a day, I think would be a pay in a smaller area, pushing $320 a day maybe in one property. And then, but obtaining that position is extremely difficult.
In other words, someone has to die for you to get that position, right?
More than that. It's not just one person. Not when one person retires or dies and and moves on. It's that I think that it's a guaranteed dollar amount, and there is a variance between the smaller, medium, and larger casinos. You might make more money as a dealer in that particular casino than the floor person, and then you might also watch more or less games. So, if you're in a casino that the floor person makes more than the dealer, it's probably a smaller casino.
Yes.
If you're in a casino where the dealer makes more than the floor, you're probably in one of the largest casinos, top 5 casinos. And it's really a matter of preference. I have 6 suits and 2 tuxedos for a reason, because I would prefer to be on the floor.
Yeah.
I prefer to have a different mental challenge to conducting myself and being presentable and having those, put a smile on no matter what's going on, and sort things out, problem solving, reading people, making determining factors, challenging my mind with the mathematical skill set of 3 different games at the same time. calculating this payout in this game was saying, okay, go ahead to the calculation of this payout in this game. And it's different to that game.
So your wife must really be jealous of your multitasking skills.
Yeah. After I find her, I don't know where you are, baby, but you're running late to this party. But when you show up, I'll still welcome you with open arms.
Well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for doing this video. We really do appreciate it. Is there anything you want to promote or anything before we go?
Just with so much information available, feel free to, obviously ask and use resources. There are plenty of websites, plenty of people that have been in this town a long time that know skills, the aces, etc. Asking dealers, asking floor people where you're at, what would make me better, who can I get in touch with, and then showing that initiative and effort. I want to be encouraging to anyone and everyone. The reason I moved to Vegas was because I got laid off in another part of the United States. My position was eliminated. And I go, this is where there's jobs. This is where there's money. This is where there's opportunity. And it's a lot warmer, and I don't like being cold, so...
Yeah, shoveling snow's not fun.
No, so it's my thought is encouragement. I want to encourage somebody. There's nothing wrong with going for the highest dollar amount, and you're like, look, I want to be a dealer, and I'm really good at this game, and being the best at that game, and being recognized. And hey, you know what? They're always there. They're on 3-card poker, but now they're dealing to the 6-card bonus, which has $1 million payout, and their accuracy to paying out and cards and position, and they took the cards off the table, or how you handle your people. Is like, it's still a very useful skill set. There's no way I'm going to go, that person's not valuable. Because as a floor person, one of the things you're really going to realize is I need all 6 of these people. I can't deal 6 games at once. I mean, I need them to do their best. And if that's the position that they want to be in, and that's where they flourish, that's where they're on their stage with the regular customers that people come back, then it's such a joy to see, like, this is who I want to be with. This is the people I want to work with, because they're encouraging to the guests, and the skill set is very valuable. So I'm going to be encouraging to anybody out there. Get out there, get in a line of work, get in a field that works for you, that you enjoy. There'll be some excitement, there'll be some high fives, and somebody will hit a royal, and there'll be some tips come your way. There'll be some good money to be made. That's what it's about. You want to have some enjoyment, but I want to get paid.
Well, this is the best way to be anywhere near gambling and know you're going to walk away with a profit, is being a dealer or a floor supervisor. The best. Thank you again very much.
Appreciate it.
And thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, and also too, if you feel that this video was worth more than $0, please donate the amount you feel it was worth by clicking the link below. We will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.